Welcome back to Torque and Power. I appreciate you guys checking in. For those of you who have subscribed, thank you. For those of you who've been doing comments, thank you. Keep them coming, especially when it comes to this series that we're about to do, that I'm super excited about. Since pretty much we started the channel, I wanted to do this series. So, how to ride a motorcycle. And today, what do we got here? We have a Honda Rebel 250, a 2006. And over here we have a Harley, a 2016 Softail Fat Boy S. And they're both out here because that's the point of this series, is I want to stress and get across that you can go from learning how to ride a Honda Rebel and go into a Harley. So from a Honda to a Harley. And I think that is just ultra important when it comes to this riding. If that's what you want to do, is get to a Harley-Davidson, it can happen. We're going to have multiple parts in this series. Today we're just going to focus on just the controls, nice and easy, something you can look at, something you can practice, something you can look up and get more familiar with. And then from there we'll get into shifting, we'll get into braking, we'll do other series when it comes to this. I do want to say that nothing makes up for taking a MSF course. This does not take the place of taking a motorcycle safety course at all, or a Harley-Davidson Academy class, if that is something you want to do when it comes to the Harleys. None of this makes up for it. I am not a professional instructor myself, so please take the course before you actually get out there and ride. This is tips and tricks that you guys can take, and hopefully it breaks down some barriers and it helps you to go take a course and get out there and realize it is possible and you can do it, and you will be more comfortable doing it. So let's talk about these two bikes real quick before we jump into the controls. Over here, like I said, is a 2006 Honda Rebel 250, arguably the best training bike you have out there. It is great. There's many institutions that use these bikes as trainer bikes. I love it. I've taught many people on these bikes, whether they're 5'2", whether they're 6'2", whether you're female, whether you're male. I have taught them on this bike. It is just fantastic. This bike is so good because of its weight. It is only 320 pounds, as opposed to this Harley over here that's about 720 pounds. And this isn't even the heaviest Harley, but that's a lot of weight difference that you got to make up. And 320 pounds, it just makes it ideal. The seat height on this bike is 26 inches, makes it nice and low, makes it real comfortable for you to put your feet down and feel secure. Also, as you guys can see, it's why we got them out here. You can see the comparison even between the tires. Having small tires like this, it makes it ideal to turn, and this bike is so easy to turn and stop. And then also what's good is that little 250 motor down there, which is probably the smallest motor I think I've ever driven. It's a whopping 16 horsepower, I want to say, and 19 torque, as opposed to this big boy over here that is well over, what, 1,800 cc's, and this thing has about 110 pound-feet of torque. So it is a massive difference between these two. But that's what makes this bike so good. Plus, you don't care if you drop it. This bike, who cares? This bike is like $1,000 to get. It's something that would be great if you're done with the MSF course or the Harley course or whatever it may be. Go out, purchase it for $1,000. When you're done with it and you feel comfortable and you're ready to make that next jump, you can take it and you can sell it, and it will cost you, and someone else will buy it from you for $1,000. So it costs you nothing to learn on this bike. You don't care if you drop it, like I said. If you do, you can put engine guards, like you see is on this Fat Boy S. But it's meant to be dropped. This bike has been dropped. I mean, it's hardly any damage on this thing, because that's why Honda built it this way. So, like I said, today we're going to go over the gauges, and again, appreciate you guys checking in. If you haven't hit the subscribe and the bell, make sure you do, because we're going to have more series when it comes to it. All right, let's get to it. Let's do a quick walk around on this bike so you guys kind of get an idea a little bit more up close and see what you're actually working with, especially if you guys are thinking about buying one. See, there's a little ding, right? Bike's been dropped, no big deal. And you guys can see the front of the bike, right? There's your blinkers. There's that little tire I was talking about. As you can see how tiny it is compared to like that monster, which just makes it, like I said, that much easier of a turn in. And again, a little side, that's where the battery is, your shocks. There's the rear blinkers back there. There's your brake light, You can tell the seat is actually nice and cushy. Really nice seat. Makes it very, very comfortable. Another exhaust over there. This bike is a chain drive when it comes to it, right? The Harleys are going to be belt. And then there's your gear shifter, which we'll cover in a second as well. And back up top. Just so you guys do know, now if you guys take the course, which you will, that's how you want to get your license, always the best way. You can't have too much training when it comes to motorcycles. But when you take the course, they'll have the bike, of course, all prepped and ready for you. But something always to remember when it comes to motorcycles before you go out. Always check the air pressure when it comes to it, and always check your oil. It's always key. If you have transmission fluid, check that as well, but check the oil, check the tires, and make sure blinkers and brakes and everything works. That is like bare minimum of what you really want to do. But all right, you guys are eager, I'm sure. Let's jump into it. So when it comes to motorcycles, it really does make a lot of sense the way they design the bikes. And in this case, actually on every case with the motorcycles, the brakes are all on the right side. All on the right side. So whether it's your front brake, which is right up here on the controller, so this is going to be the front brake, that's going to control that single disc down there. And then down here is your rear brake. And all it is simple push down. If you're up on the peg, you push it down, and that's what they call it, right? The peg, and then you got your little foot control there, and that's all it is. That is the rear brake, and in this case, it is a drum. Now, all motorcycles are pretty much exactly the same when it comes to pretty much all the instrumentations. There's only one thing between the Harley and the Honda that's different, and that's the blinkers. Otherwise, all motorcycles are the same. All the brakes are on the same right side. So if that's a question that you guys might have, you guys know. So let's go over it one more time. On the right side, on the bottom, that's how you control the rear brake. And then up top, on the grip up here, this is how you control that front brake. All right, so if we go around now to the other side, over here now on the left side is all your shifting and your gears, okay? Like I said, we'll go more into depth on this stuff. We're just kind of doing a quick little overview. But over here on this guy is the clutch. So on this hand side is the clutch, real easy. And then down here is your gear shifter. So I'm gonna try to get my foot in there a little bit. It'll be a little bit of a hardest trying to get my foot in there. But this is your gear shifter. And this bike happens to be a 5-speed. And it's real easy. All bikes, all the way down to first gear is down. And then you got 4 gears up. Okay? And when I say all bikes, I mean most bikes are like that. I'm sure there might be some way back when they're older that were different. But every bike I have ridden, it has been that way. And some boxes can be 6 speeds. They even have automatics now. But in this case, this is a 5-speed. So all the way down, you guys can hear it clicking. That gets you all the way down to first gear, and then on up, you click to go from second, third, fourth, fifth. But like I said, don't worry about that. We'll cover that stuff more in detail. So again, that's clutch side is over here. On this side over here is the left is the clutch and the gear shifter. And on the right, we have the front brake and the rear brake. And then right here, which of course it would make sense, the brakes are here, also the accelerator is here. So on the right side is your accelerator, and it's just a simple twist. And what it should do, and every bike should have this, so you guys got to make sure when you get on, it should snap back like that. Can you guys see it? Like it snap automatically by itself, and then it takes the acceleration all the way down. Now when you do ride, you will manipulate this, but like I said, we'll go into that in further detail down the road. But this is your accelerator. All right, we got our mirrors up here, right? You guys can see me right there. There's your mirrors and your mirrors. All right, we'll jump on the bike and attempt to do this with only one hand. So there you go, pretty simple layout. Another great feature of this bike is just how simple it is. Not much complexity to it at all. So on the left side, you have your brights, right? So here's your low beam, okay? Real easy headlights, just like a car. Over here is your turn signal. Now this is what I was talking about that's different from a Harley. A Harley, it has a left turn signal over here and then a right turn signal over here. Most Japanese bikes and the ones I've ridden besides Harley, it's just like this. So all it is you'll see the left turn signal you push it that way, and you guys can see little turn signal indicators are going. And then to shut it off, all you do is just push it in. That's it, you just push it in. So if you push it to the right now, the right one goes, you guys can see it. And then you want to reset it, you just push it in. You do have to make sure that you actually do that after you complete the turn. You have to push it in. Down here is the horn. So that's the horn button, kind of tough to see. You can see this bike has been used quite a bit, but that's the horn on this bike. And then you come to the instrument cluster, pretty basic. There is no tachometer, so you guys don't have to worry about revving. You will just listen to the motor. And you won't need that RPM gauge because you can hear the motor, it will talk to you. You don't have to worry about that. Here we have indicators. So we have a neutral indicator saying that the bike is in neutral, if you guys can see that. Up here, like I said, we have the turn signal indicator. I'll put that on again for you guys. And then over here we have high beam, which again is right over here. Just flip that up. You guys can see the high beam light is on. High beam light is off now. And then this is just your on and off for the battery for the bike, okay? And that's important to know because there's two different switches. This doesn't start the motor, okay? So we're gonna head over to the right side, and this is the side that does start the motor. So here you have your kill switch and your ignition switch, and you can see it kind of has that X through the kill of the run. So that would be off. When you want to run the bike, you just flip it to on. And then down here is the actual power of the bike. When you push that in, you hear the bike start up. And I'll show you guys that in a moment. And then because this is your brake fluid reservoir. Not like you guys need to know that right now, but that is the brake fluid reservoir to it. You guys do see these cables running down here. If you're ever curious what these are, it's actually your throttle cables that get connected to this hand grip when you go to turn it. So it actually opens and closes the throttle bodies on the engine to accelerate the bike. So something down the road, maintenance-wise, which we might cover that too in a series, that you'd want to check. But that's what provides that snapback on the throttle and also provides the power that comes to it. Now this bike coming back over now to the left side, it is a little unusual because it's older. Most bikes are fuel injected. This bike is not, it's carbureted. And that's what this guy is actually a choke. So just like you guys kind of seen on lawnmowers and stuff, that is your choke. So you just push it forward in order to open it all the way up. So the bike's gonna get all the air and gas that it needs to start up. So while we're doing it, why don't we have you guys hear it, and then we'll end the video there, and then we'll get into the next set. So all you do is flip it on. As you can see, the bike is in neutral. That's important when you start it. You want the bike in neutral. Bike is on. The choke is fully forward. You're good to go there. We already have this on run, right? There's off, now it's on run. And now the guy's gonna start right on up. Yeah, right on up, right? Just like I said, huh? There it goes. There it goes. The bike's running, starting right on up, good. And it's as simple as that. You can hear it purring. It is running a little high just because it is cold and the choke is up. So when we turn the choke down, normally you'd let it run for about 3 to 5 minutes to warm up, but you just turn it on down and you guys can hear the motor is idling on down, letting you know it's warmed up and ready to go. And that would be it. You guys would be off and going. All right, so any questions on any of this stuff, please let me know. I made it pretty basic. Go over it a few times if you need to, kind of brush up. It's stuff that's gonna be on the tests when you guys go for your permit or your motorcycle tests. The controls and gauges certainly are a part of it. I hope this helped. Give me some comments back, feedback on what you guys want to see. But the next series is going to actually be starting off the bike and giving a little bit of riding and shifting. And I'll shut it off for you guys so you guys can see what that's like. So just turn the choke down. You guys can hear what it sounds like. It's just slowly idling now. And you don't want to hit the key because that's just the battery. What you actually do is just hit the engine kill switch, which is right there. And the bike is off. And because you don't want to drain the battery, you shut that off and you're good to go. All right, until next time, I appreciate you guys checking in. And until then, for those of you guys who ride or gonna ride, keep both wheels down. Later.